Hello. Hi, thank you for joining. Happy Monday. Lots of coffee today. See if anyone else joins. Hello, happy Monday. Might just be us. Hello. Welcome. Hi. Welcome. Oh, hi, Max. I came prepared with spray today in case Eva decides to, she's sleeping right next to me. So, in case she decides to attempt to escape, I can spray her. I think the Liberal Party is doomed. Oh, for sure. Doomed. I have some really funny stuff to go through. They're totally doomed. And it's no one else's fault but their own. It's quite funny to watch this. Did anyone watch the correspondence dinner? Let me know if you did. Hello from the UK. Hi, UK. Hello, Martin. Elon Musk supported Obama and he's considered far right now. No, I didn't watch it. I know. Well, it's the same with Joe Rogan. He's liberal. Hi Glenn, I'm really good. How are you? Uh Joe Rogan is liberal and he's considered far right. Anyone that doesn't go exactly with their silly narrative is far right. It's really funny. But that's how I felt when I Hi James, how are you? That's how I felt when I started going down the rabbit hole and realized I think I'm Republican now is because I the principles that I've always had, this party, the Democratic Party, doesn't seem to have anymore. Let's go, Brandon. Hello from Boston. Hi, Boston. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's really funny to me. He's also doing more it's funny to me as well with Elon Musk because he's doing so much to fight climate change. That's one of their favorite things to talk about right now. And he has the largest electric car manufacturer. Notification squad checking in. Oh, good. He's the largest electric car manufacturer in the entire world. You would think that Democrats would be like, oh, Elon Musk. But they're not. And you know what's really funny? One of his biggest, it was so funny. He got into this little thing with AOC and she was talking about how dangerous it was for him to buy Twitter and all of these things. And somebody retweeted back at AOC saying that, pointing out the fact that AOC owns a Tesla. So they were basically saying AOC helped Elon Musk buy Twitter, which is true. She does. She owns a Tesla, and that's what I'm saying. You would think that liberals would love Elon Musk for what he's doing for climate change. It was the same in it was the same thing in California. Gavin Newsom proposed that he wants to go full electric car. He only wants electric cars sold in California by the year 2035. And that same year, after he announced this, Elon Musk had to pull Tesla, the headquarters of Tesla, out of California and put it in Texas because all of the rules and regulations and just smugness by politicians were just too much for him to do business there. So he was like, I'm going to do business in Texas. And Texas welcomed him with open arms. You would think that, Gavin Newsom would do anything in his power to keep Elon happy or at least be polite to him. Hi, Matt. How are you? AOC's principles are a flag in the wind. The Democrats don't like free speech. Yes, that used to be a liberal um, point, but it is not anymore. I've never seen politicians work so hard to destroy their own reputation. It's insane. Oh my gosh, I know. Okay, well, I'll get into it now, I think. And you saw that at, I don't know if any of you watched, I know Max said he didn't. I don't know if any of you watched the correspondence dinner at the White House. So it happens every year. And typically you'll have politicians, celebrities, and they go, and the president gets roasted and all of that jazz. Well, they had it, and it was so incredibly tone deaf. Here we go. I'll read you a little bit. And it was so bad. I made a video about it yesterday, just a short video. It was so bad that I was like, it almost seems like there was a Republican plant in there somewhere that was telling Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah had a 30-minute set where he was telling jokes. It was almost like a Republican plant was like, oh yeah, yeah, put that joke in there. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Keep that joke. It was just bad news. So President Joe Biden spent Saturday night partying it up with celebrities and laughing at jokes about rising inflation during the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner. Host of The Daily Show, Trevor Noah, gave a nearly 30-minute speech poking fun at politicians and corporate media. Okay, we like to poke fun at politicians and corporate media, but it didn't come off quite. Noah took a moment to joke about, oh yeah, sorry. Um, Noah took a moment to joke about rising inflation as well, drawing a heavy laugh and round of applause from Biden. Trevor Noah said, ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up. And then everybody just exploded into laughter and they're like, oh my gosh, I know it is. Ha ha. Inflation's up 8.5%. Here's the thing about that. So I made this video about it and I got a little bit of criticism from obviously the two Biden supporters that stumbled upon it. And they were saying, well, don't you know what a roast is? Yes, I do know what a roast is. I'm quite familiar with a roast. I love a good roast. I like the program called The Roast. I used to go to the Comedy Store on Tuesdays. They would have roast battles. Um, but typically these are things when you have Americans that are struggling to fill up their gas tanks, which gas I just saw is up like 80%. When you have people that are paying double for groceries than they paid a year ago, it's not something you want to laugh about, to be like, oh, silly Biden, knowing that it is directly um, because of the policies of this administration. It just comes off as incredibly out of touch. And almost, it reminded me of the Hunger Games, watching ultra wealthy people that are not affected by these things. This doesn't really affect them. They have the extra money. They probably have no idea what they spend on gas. They probably have no idea what they spend on groceries. Um, Watching ultra wealthy people laugh about those things in a way that's like silly Biden is it's not a good look. It's really not a good look. It comes off as completely out of touch, almost mean. And you forget. So yesterday I went to Walmart and I was talking to this girl. She was a young girl. She was a Walmart employee. And we were just talking, and she was telling me, oh, I wasn't supposed to work this shift. I picked up an extra shift because my boyfriend and I, we just spent all our money on groceries. And um, I had somebody comment on a video I made about this. It was a guy, and he spent $600, I think, to have to fill up his propane tank. And he was like, when I saw that bill, I just cried. I have to have propane. You forget, even I forget sometimes, how right along the line a lot of people live. And a lot of people live that way. So for all of us, it hurts, but especially people that live right above that line, paying double for gas is a huge deal. That could be the difference from them having an extra or even just $30 in their bank account. People live like that, paying 80% more for gas than you paid a year ago, that could be the difference of someone having a few bucks in their bank account. And that's a really big deal for a lot of people. And again, this is just them losing touch with the general American public. There is an interview that Tucker Carlson did. It's on Fox Nation. He did it with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she said, she was someone who was a regular citizen and got frustrated and decided to run for Congress, and she was elected. And she said, I was just so surprised when I got into Congress just how just none of these people seem very talented to me. They don't seem very smart to me. There's nothing impressive about them. And these are the people that are passing bills and shaping our nation. And she was like, these are just not the best people. And she was like, this is why nothing ever gets done. And they live in this Washington, D.C. bubble. None of them have any idea what it's like, I'll say on the street. None of them have any idea what it's like for the girl that works at Walmart or the guy that had to pay $600 to fill up his propane tank when that is a huge deal to people like that. They have no idea who is making all the profit. Yeah, they care about their special interests. They care about what they think Americans care about, but they're wrong. And here's an article right here. And it says Democrats doomed. That's how I got the name of this live stream. And it says a new poll reveals that 94% of Americans are concerned with inflation. Majority believe Republicans can fix it. So it says if Democrats were holding any hope that the midterms wouldn't look too bad, then their optimism is going to take something of a hit with this latest poll from Washington Post ABC. So, Washington Post ABC poll. The poll measures how well President Joe Biden and his administration are doing in terms of various issues. 94% of respondents said they were concerned, with 44% of adults saying they were upset about it, and 50% saying they were concerned but not upset. That's not good. They talked about things like crime, inflation, gas prices, food, and every single one of these areas, it was overwhelming. Republicans and Democrats trusted Republicans on handling these things over Democrats. Bryce said a few bucks can be the difference between eating 3 meals a day or going hungry. Absolutely. And I think like even I forget it sometimes. But talking to that girl, it's like I yeah, people live like that. And there's a local restaurant that I go to sometimes and I talk to the servers, and some of them will be like, I had to work this shift to pay this bill off. My insurance is due, so I need to work more. I ran out of money. I just paid all my bills and now I don't have anything left. It's a huge deal to a lot of people when you see people at this correspondence dinner just joking it up like, oh, ridiculous Biden. He's so silly. Most of the people I know who will be changing their vote to Republican are doing so as a punishment for the DMC. Ah, yeah, and the majority of the people also said they trusted Republicans more than Democrats to handle the economy. Basically, every major thing, Republicans are trusted over Democrats for handling. It goes on to say this is red state, it's kind of a opiniony, but it goes on to say Democrats have done their absolute best to distance themselves from the inflation their party created, including isolating the Biden administration from other Democrats and placing blame on it. The White House, meanwhile, has attempted to rebrand inflation as Putin's prices in order to deflect blame to Russia. And this is not working. People are seeing through it. Progressives don't compromise, they only progress. Exactly. Reimagine. And here's CNN. CNN. CNN reports Biden's approval rating among Black Americans is down, a 20-point drop. I'll play you this part.
Approval with Black Americans is down. It's not just inflation that's challenging President Biden before the midterms. There's another potential headwind. New polling suggests that Black voters may be souring on Democrats. CNN's senior data reporter, Harry Entin, here. Harry, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
So you have found that Biden's approval with Black Americans is down. How far are we talking here?
I mean, it's really down. And you can see it here. At the beginning of his term, he was at 87%. Look at where he is over the last few months. 67%. That's a 20-point drop. And not only is it a 20-point drop, that 67%, Barack Obama, the last Democratic president, never dropped below 75% in any Gallup poll. So this is lower than Barack Obama ever was.
Do you know what's driving this? What's behind it?
Well, there are a number of things that are behind it. But, one of the things that I think is so important as we look towards the midterm elections, right? If you look at younger voters, you don't really there was much of a change with them in terms of their generic ballot or how they would vote for Congress, even though they had soured on Biden. But look here, the choice for the House of Representatives among Black voters. In the 2020 election, Democrats won them by 77 points. Look at the recent average of polling. They're only winning them, get this, by 62 points. Now, I want to put this in a historical comparison for you. And this really gets at how low that 62-point margin is. Choice for House of Representatives, Democrats have won Black voters by 75 points or more in every single election this century. So if you go back here and you see them right now with just a 62-point margin, that is much worse for wear than any performance for Democrats in the House of.
Wow. And that's when my funny little drinking problem began. Have you ever noticed Obama 2008 campaign and Trump campaign were the same? Oh yeah. That's what I try to tell people. They ran on exactly the same things. I just took this out of the wash. They ran on exactly the same things. Actually, I would even argue that Trump was a little bit more liberal than Obama because Obama said that, he made a comment on gay marriage and said that marriage should be between a man and a woman. Donald Trump was actually the first president in U.S. history on his campaign to be pro-gay marriage. But yeah, if you look at both of their platforms, that would actually be really interesting to bring up both platforms and look at all the similarities. But Obama was really tough on immigration and talked about border security a lot. All kinds of things. He was tough on crime. In 1994, this isn't Obama, this is Biden. But even Biden in 1994 signed the crime bill, the 1994 crime bill. Joe Biden signed it. Bill Clinton signed it. So did Bernie Sanders. They all supported it. And it was a bill that was going to be a lot tougher on crime. And that was also overwhelmingly supported by the Black Caucus. They actually they thought it was too weak because they saw how the crack epidemic made inner cities into basically war zones. And they wanted them to be tough on crime. And that's another area where Democrats got it completely wrong. They ran with this defund the police slogan. They did defund police departments. They got progressive DAs elected. And when you talk about defunding the police, if you look at Los Angeles, for example, they defunded the police by $150 million. They elected George Gascon, one of those super progressive DAs that is soft on crime and basically just doesn't care about victims. If you look at what happened, crime went up. And when crime goes up, you have more victims. Well, look at something like homicide. Los Angeles is seeing a 15, Los Angeles is seeing a 50-year high in homicides. Well, 90% of homicide victims are Black and Hispanic men. So if you have a 15-year high, I'm sure you can do the math there and see who the majority of victims are. And you even have police officers and other DAs that work under Gascon will say, yeah, we're seeing a lot more victims in these communities that are overwhelmingly Black and Hispanic. So all of these policies only hurt the very people that they say they want to help. And I think there was a poll where 81% of middle-class Black families thought that police should not be defunded. And in fact, a lot of them wanted more policing in their neighborhoods. And that's one more example of how Democrats or far left progressives are so completely out of touch with everyday Americans and what they want. They are ideologues and they are married to their ideology. They're married to these special interest groups or activist groups or whatever it is you want to call them. And they're so I don't want to call it like a narcissism. I don't know what it is, but they will not look at the actual data. They will not look, or they will refuse to look at the actual reality that's happening on the street as a result of their policies. Mayorkas should be flexed. What? Mayorkas should be flex cuffed to the deck of a C-17. Oh gosh. Both sides hated Trump because he exposed how corrupt they all are. Yeah, that's a good point, Brandon. A lot of people don't know, but when Trump was in office, there were a ton of Republicans that were not happy about it. And he got pushback from both sides. He got it from everyone. And I think you're exactly right. It's because he's not an establishment politician. He couldn't be bought by anyone. He didn't even take his salary to be the president. You make $400,000 a year as the president of the United States. He never took a salary. He donated all of that money back into the government. I think he would do like $100,000 increments, and all of it was donated back into the government. He never took a dime. In fact, I believe he lost money because he wasn't running all of his businesses at the same capacity he was. I would vote for Sarah to be our new truth czar. Oh gosh, that's a whole other thing. Speaking of Mayorkas, he admitted on Fox News that DHS has released over 800,000 illegal immigrants into the US since January 21st. And this is another thing that is not popular with people. And now this is exposed and people know it. Nobody wants a wide open border except for far left activists. And that's why Republicans are starting to win on. I need to keep that covered. Republicans are starting to win on all of these border cities because of that. Yeah, so John Boy said Mayorkas spent 3 days in hearings last week and he answered 0 questions. Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating to watch. And I agree with all of them. He knows exactly what he's doing. We have leaked audio from Mayorkas on the border. I can't remember if it was last year, but it wasn't too long ago. There was leaked audio of him saying that the influx of people coming over our border illegally is basically a disaster and it's not sustainable. And then all of a sudden, when you see him speak publicly, it's a completely different story. All of a sudden, oh, yes, we have the border completely under control. Oh, really? Because you said it was unsustainable when you didn't know you were being recorded in private. So he says one thing in private, he says another thing. And again, it's just like, it's frustrating to watch this because you're like, do you think we're stupid? And then you ask yourself, is this why they need a a disinformation governance board so you can continue to control the narrative so people can't call you out on your crap? So Americans can't see behind the curtain? It's lightening up a little bit. His paycheck keeps coming. Well, it's interesting too when he was in those hearings. Um, one senator, I can't remember who it was, but he was like, "Look, man to man, just admit the truth." I honestly like. I mean, that is such a blatant example of just outright lying. Sarah, you could even make better videos. Ah,
Okay, I found this on the web for could even make better videos. Check it out.
did you hear that? When I say Sarah, my computer thinks I'm saying Siri. Siri, who is the truth czar? Hey Siri,
Mm-hmm.
who is the truth czar?
I found an answer. It's displayed on your Mac.
Oh, it's a name. Oh, it's a movie. Darn. The Patriot Act is bug her off. The Patriot Act is the start of a downfall. Well, that's an example of when they will use a crisis, and not that some of these crises don't exist. For instance, like climate change, they use these crises to scare us into accepting these things that otherwise most people wouldn't accept. And that's always been my criticism of, the climate as well. I'm not saying that climate change doesn't exist, but what I am saying is that they will scare the crap out of you into saying, "Yes, yes, please raise my taxes. Yes, daddy government, please. I need you to save me because according to AOC, the world is going to end in 12 years." Even though Barack Obama has a huge house on Martha's Vineyard that wouldn't be there if it's so bad. Why Martha's Vineyard? And I don't know if you know this, but you have to take a really tiny, almost private planes just to get to Martha's Vineyard. Who has a huge birthday party, and I actually read a local newspaper from Martha's Vineyard when Barack Obama had his huge party there, and a lot of the residents were really mad because they have this tiny little airport, and the whole airport was just filled with private jets, and they actually ran out of jet fuel, and a lot of people were mad. This is like a small, just pristine island. A lot of people were mad because of all of the jet fuel that was used just for this man to have his 60th birthday party. Martha's Vineyard isn't diverse. No, it's not. Hello, all the way from Canada. Hi from Canada. Climate change means politicians can get a nice place on the water, Virginia. That would be very. Hmm. I really wanted a sip of coffee, but now I'm afraid. I'll just be really careful. That VA internets is hit or miss. Oh, internets. Is it bad right now? Oh, that's a good idea. Coffee out of a straw? Hot coffee? It's sad because there are so many people who are unwilling to admit this stuff happens. They care more about their team. Yeah, I think I've talked about it before. People are so tribal. Like that's one of our biggest issues. I honestly think that Sarah, did you see Pelosi was in Ukraine? Oh my gosh, I did. Nancy Pelosi visited Ukraine over the weekend. Um, I think one of the biggest problems, again, most of us I think agree on most things, but the problem is we're so tribal. For instance, with the Don't Say Gay bill, I was watching a woman be interviewed, and if you actually read the bill, if you really knew what was in it, it's a pretty commonsensical thing. And this bill in Florida is supported by Democrats and Republicans. This is a bill that you could argue the majority of people that live in Florida agree with. Yet you have people that don't even live in Florida saying, "No, I don't like it." And one woman, actually, I watched an interview. It was really funny. And the person interviewing her was asking if she agreed with the bill. And she said her answer was that she didn't like Trump. So that shows you where we're at. That right there is tribalism, and that is dangerous. And I think that's how some of these terrible policies get passed are because, well, if Democrats do it, it's good. I can't support anything. The media has demonized the other side so bad that you have people that are like, I can't support anything that they support because they're Republicans and Republicans are bad. That's where we are right now. Well, Trump is still in office, yeah, he's not even in office, but see, they just automatically align any Republican with Trump. They align DeSantis with Trump because basically the media is making DeSantis the new Trump. So all things are and that's such a dangerous place to be. It's almost like, what is this? Like, are am I a bad cat? Are we the baddies? And it's so sad that even in a time like now where all of this information is available to us all the time that we have become so tribal. Like any of us can look up anything and have the answer within minutes and we are still so tribal. Here's NBC freaking out about Elon Musk buying Twitter. This just goes into like this is how tribal we are. If the neo Nazi faction of the GOP expands in November, we may look back on this as a pivotal moment. Elon Musk buying Twitter is what they're talking about. When a petulant and not so bright billionaire casually bought one of the most influential messaging machines and just handed it to the far right. This is MSNBC. And then this is the Atlantic's Molly Jong Fast on Elon Musk being upset about online censorship. These are just some of the examples of the media freaking out over Elon Musk. Old rich white men have since the beginning of time complained about young people. Like, this is not new. Elon Musk responded to this and said NBC is basically saying Republicans are Nazis. Same organization that covered up Hunter Biden laptop story had Harvey Weinstein story early and killed it and built Matt Lauer his R word office. Lovely people. I think that was a good response. Exactly. All of the people that are so mad that Elon Musk bought Twitter are all the people that were just pro censoring any story that made their party look bad. And all Elon said, do I think he's a hero and he's going to save democracy? No, but I think what he did is very substantial and that's why they're all freaking out. And all he said was, I want this to be a platform of freedom of speech. Yes, they did, John Boy. That's what they called you. And apparently, I guess I am too. I didn't even know. Even at Twitter. So Elon Musk is set to fire the current CEO of Twitter, Parag Agrawal. And he was having, so this is what's happening inside of Twitter because a lot of the employees are freaking out clearly because it is going to be exposed how much they censor. Twitter's CEO, Parag, looked tired as he and other embattled executives fended off questions from upset staffers about Elon Musk's takeover of the firm. Leaked details from a company-wide meeting revealed workers pressed Agrawal, I think I'm saying his name correctly, yikes, and other top executives at the social media giant on Friday to provide answers lingering questions about Musk's $44 billion buyout, including the likelihood that Twitter will conduct layoffs once deal closes. Hey, if you're pro censoring information on a huge social media website that millions of people use, I am not upset about you being fired. I think that's completely taking advantage of your position and doing things that are dishonest. So, an employee in attendance reportedly described him, who, by the way, has only been there for 4 months and he's getting a $42 million payout, as appearing tired at times and annoyed during the meeting, even as he attempted to assuage workers' fears, according to the Business Insider, which obtained leaked audio from the all hands on deck meeting. The current CEO also expressed a degree of remorse during the call, according to the news site, telling employees that he would have wished he would have done a better job with lots of things during talks with Musk. Well, no wonder he looks tired. Hold on 1 second. I need to get my plug for my computer. It's about to die. Hold on. Okay. No. Okay, we're good now. So I would love to see a new CEO. I think that would be a good thing. And to be honest, it's hard to feel sorry for someone who's only been at Twitter for 4 months, who was very pro censorship and admitted this in the beginning, and who is getting a $42 million severance package. I don't know. I think he's going to be just fine. If he's a little tired, that's okay. He'll be okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I was also doing laundry just now. Um, Liberals will destroy your company, never hire them. Oh, yeah. And I mean, look what's happening to CNN. And actually, they're getting a new boss. So this will be interesting. A while back, CNN did a huge merger, and one of well, actually the largest shareholder in the merger had expressed publicly that he was not happy with the way that CNN was going, and he wanted CNN to get back to just doing objective journalism and telling the truth instead of all of these opinion shows and clear propaganda. And here's the thing with journalism, there's several types of journalism. There's objective journalism, there's point of view journalism. So, objective journalism is mostly what you see in a lot of local news. It's basically you're just telling the news, you're not giving your opinion. The audience doesn't want to know your opinion, basically, or they have no idea what your opinion is. You're just giving them the facts, you're giving them the news. Uh, and then you have point of view journalism, which is you're giving the facts and then you're giving your opinion on top of the facts, but you're clear that these are the facts and then this is my opinion. And so you can give your own opinion, but the problem with CNN is they are just straight on propaganda. You also have propaganda, which is when you're actively being dishonest and telling slighted news. And that's what CNN does, because they tell you that they're just giving you the facts. They're telling you that we're CNN, your trusted news source, when they're not. It's all opinion. But the largest shareholder has expressed that he wants CNN to change course and get back to telling the truth. And I think with Zucker, what was it? Was that his name? Yeah, Jeff Zucker, who was the former um, big guy at Twitter, at CNN. Geez, um, he quit. So I had a feeling that they were going to use this opportunity. No, he didn't quit. He left in disgrace because they had some information on him too. But there's a new boss, and this is really interesting. So it says CNN's new boss kicked off his first day on the job by telling employees he wants to focus on the network's reporting on the news and truth amid criticism over the scandal scarred network's heavy emphasis on opinion based shows. I met CNN. Chris Litt, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who officially replaced CNN's disgraced boss, Jeff Zucker, on Monday following the stints as executive producer at The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, CBS This Morning, circulated a memo to employees saying that too many people have lost trust in the news media. This is very interesting. He went on to say, so this is the memo that went out to employees at CNN. He went on to say, I think we can be a beacon in remaining that trust. Oh, he says, I think we can be a beacon in regaining that trust by being an organization that exemplifies the best characteristics of journalism, fearlessly speaking truth to power, challenging the status quo, questioning groupthink, and educating viewers and readers with straightforward facts and insightful commentary, while always being respectful of differing viewpoints. First and foremost, we should and we will be advocates for the truth. He sounds like such a dictator. It was. So this memo was basically his first remarks about the vision for the network. He recently addressed some 400 CNN employees last Thursday after new management shuttered CNN Plus, the network's expensive 1-month-old streaming service. He said this is a uniquely shitty situation. So he called that a uniquely shitty situation, hoping to calm hundreds of angry employees who just lost their jobs. So yeah, yikes. A lot of people lost their jobs over that. I was not aware of that. So we'll see how this happens. We'll see what happens with CNN. Will it change? I also heard from a birdie. I don't know if you guys heard anything else, but I heard that Brian Stelter might be leaving CNN. CNN Plus. A uniquely, I actually didn't know that part. A uniquely shitty situation. Oh, is someone being nasty? Who is it? Brooke. Okay, yeah. What? Brooke. Oh, I didn't see that one. I'm trying to find this nasty comment. I don't see it. Tribalism is not bad. It's human nature. The problem is when um Bryce says, I don't have much hope for CNN. Too many holdovers. I don't have I to be honest, I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's interesting. I think that's sort of a step in the right direction. But it's true and there's so many what he said was really good. You're supposed to speak truth to power. You are supposed to challenge Brooke doesn't like your voice. And why are you listening? um you're supposed to challenge the status quo. And what a lot of corporate media is doing, whether it's MSNBC or CNN, a lot of them, they're protecting the status quo. They're not speaking truth to power, they're protecting that class. They're doing the opposite of what they're supposed to be doing. Actually, this is really funny. I was just looking at I was looking at that Twitter exchange between MSNBC and Elon Musk, where he was calling them out. They were calling him uh, uh, a neo-Nazi, and he was calling them out for saying, "Wait a second, aren't you the network that suppressed um, the Hunter Biden laptop story and all of this stuff?" So I see this a lot with Elon Musk. A lot of people, there's this picture of him with uh, Ghislaine Maxwell, so people will use that to try to dunk on him, but just because you have a picture with somebody doesn't really implicate you for doing anything wrong. There's pictures of Trump with him and other people, or Trump with Epstein and other people. So he was actually responding to this, which I thought was really interesting. Um, Somebody said, "It says it all that we heard more about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock than we heard about Ghislaine Maxwell's trial." It's also interesting that the account tracking Ghislaine Maxwell's trial got banned when it gained traction. Lovely people. And Elon said, "Where is the client list? Shouldn't at least one of them go down?" And okay, here is when somebody tried to dunk him. So somebody commented to that and says, "Let's start with you," and putting that picture of him with Ghislaine up. And Elon says, "That's a Vanity Fair party, and she photobombed me in the background. You know that already, don't you?" Another individual said, "Elon doesn't know Ghislaine Maxwell at all. She photobombed him once at a Fair party in 2014. Real question is why Vanity Fair invited her in the first place." Interesting. And Elon responded with, "That is exactly the question." Good. I'm actually glad he responded to that, because she shouldn't be in jail for that insufferable name. Yeah, I can't even say it. I'm glad he responded with that, because I see that a lot, that people are always trying to question. And there's a picture of him with Trump, but Trump was never implicated. Trump was questioned by several attorneys, and the attorneys even said, with the whole Epstein thing, the attorneys even said that Trump was actually the most cooperative person, and basically everything that he said when they questioned him, he was very open. He was very cooperative. He told them, "I'll give you all the time you need. I'll answer whatever questions you need me to answer." And they also said that everything that Trump said, every question that was answered about Epstein, was totally corroborated. Elon's apparent ability to check his emotions is a great skill to have. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the guy is a hero, but I will say I much enjoy his response to a lot of people and his response to criticism. I very, very much enjoy it. And he's funny. So that's always fun to watch. Uh, Jack Posovic said, Elon has become unbannable and is using it for all it's worth. Yeah, I like that. Salty Cracker, a lot of you guys like him. I like him too. He said, the Salty Cracker is responding to Elon Musk calling out MSNBC. So he's responding to the same organization that covered up Hunter Biden laptop story, had Harvey Weinstein story early and killed it, and built Matt Lauer his R word office. Lovely Salty Cracker said, the Salty Cracker said, "Holy balls, I'm loving this new Twitter boss. I can see why all these lizard people are concerned." I wonder where Elon's space roadster has made it to now. I have no idea. I think that Elon Musk is actually an alien who's just trying to go home. How many billionaires will sit with Rogan and smoke one? And you know what? That's when you know that people have some genuineness to them. That's not a word. You know what I mean. I respect people who are willing to sit down for several hours and just be open and allow themselves to be questioned. My name is awesome. Jordan P said Elon is an alien. I think he is. He just wants to go home to his motherland. That's why he made SpaceX. Oh, thank you. Lance put up a link so we can know where Elon's space car is. Yeah, the new Twitter is working out pretty good. I like it. Elon's not waiting for the mothership. You know what's interesting? My mom has a very rare blood derivative. So you have the blood types, right? You have like, oh, well, I don't know. You have the blood types. Well, then you have derivatives off the blood type. And there's a one, it's called, they call it like the royal blood because I guess all of royalty had it. And only 15% of people on the planet have this. Let me read you what it is. And my mom has it. And hold on, I'm going to tell you what the royal, there's a band called the Royal Blood. I don't want them. Oh, it's R negative. That's what it is. R negative. So when you're pregnant, you have to get tested for this blood type or for this blood derivative, Rh negative. So it's Rh negative. And when you're a pregnant woman, it's getting glitchy. Yes, Rh negative. You have to get tested for this blood type because your body will actually attack the baby like it's something foreign. A blood type is a classification of blood based on. mm, the Rh factor is a protein that can be found on the surface of red blood cells. If your blood cells have this protein, you're Rh positive. If your blood cells do not have this protein, you are Rh negative. Well, it's most of the time, being Rh negative has no risks, but during pregnancy, being Rh negative can be a problem if your baby is Rh positive. If your blood and your baby's blood don't mix, your body will start to make antibodies that can damage your body's red blood cells, known as Rh sensitive. Whatever. Yeah, so you get tested by it, and there are all these conspiracy theories and stories. There is actually an entire episode on ancient aliens about this blood derivative. So my mom is convinced that she is an alien now. And what's crazy is a lot of people that have this blood derivative, they all have similarities. Like they have light colored eyes and light colored hair, or no, not light colored hair, light colored eyes. There's a few other things. And a lot of US presidents have it. A lot of royal families have it in their bloodline. They call it the royal blood. So my mom is convinced that she is an alien and that she has a mothership and it's going to come get her. She's fine. All of this talk of babies is going to offend non uterus havers who cannot procreate. I'm sorry, I'm not being inclusive. Proteins attacking blood cells sounds like, well, the blood type. Hold on, let me find. This is actually really interesting. If you ever just look it up, it's where this comes from. Origin. The origin of this is very strange. Okay, the designation Rh is derived from the use of blood rhesus monkeys. Wait, hold on. Just as we inherit our blood type letter from our parents, we inherit the Rh factor from them as well. Each person has. Okay, but where does it comes from? Come from? Okay, here it is. Some believe Rh negative blood is simply a mutation that came about at some unknown time in our evolution. But as strange as it sounds, others have speculated at the possibility that it may have come from an alien species that interbred with humans or engineered us in some way, producing a hybrid bloodline. That's what my mom believes. So there's all these conspiracy theories about it, and my mom believes all of them. She's like, I'm special. About 15% of the world's population has the Rh negative distinction. But this percentage of the population is not spread evenly across all areas of the planet. While humans are thought to all share a common ancestor originating from sub Saharan Africa, the number of Rh negative Africans is disproportionately low compared to others, about 3%. In Asia, that proportion is even lower, with only about 1% of the population processing this rare blood type. See, it gets pretty weird. The gene that produces Rh negative is largely present in Caucasians, with the highest concentration found in a small region in the Iberian Peninsula between France and Spain, known as the Basque region. Here, straddling the Pyrenees Mountains, up to 40% of the population is Rh negative, and that's not only the distinguishing feature of the region. Those from the Basque were also only people of Western Europe who continue to speak an indigenous Indo European language, an isolated tongue not spoken anywhere else in Europe. But this language is not just isolated, it's completely unrelated to the other European languages. So it keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier the more you read about this blood type. That's why there's so many conspiracy theories about it. I'm reading your comments. Not being mean, 15% is quite a lot of people out of 7 billion. Rh antibodies are harmless until the mother's second or later pregnancies. Interesting. It's a very interesting topic. You could read on and on. It gets stranger the more you read. And someone said 15% is quite a lot of people out of 7 billion. It is. But when you look at how it's not evenly spread and where it originated, and if you go on, it will say that a lot of people have certain characteristics that are similar beyond just being Caucasian. Does mom have a lot of pills? Check her medicine cabinet. No, she's just goofy. She's clearly joking about it. All the people in the world feel special. I don't know what that is. Ollie Brown. I don't know what that is. But that's why it was on Ancient Aliens. A large mix of pills made my mother wacky until we had one doctor straighten it out. I'm sorry to hear that. Especially, I have family members that have depression, and finding the right depression medicine for them was very wonky. Inbreeding is another strange topic, a human problem in the Middle East. I was reading recently. Yeah. Oh, wow, I made it finally. Hello, Liberty Ninja. Will the employees of Twitter lose their safe place room? Yes, that must go. The safe space must go. Or the on-site counselor for every time one of one of Elon's tweets triggers you. They booted. You know what? I saw that. It's really interesting. Mike Lindell came back on Twitter. So a lot of people were having their Twitter accounts reinstated right after it was announced that Elon Musk was purchasing Twitter. And Mike Lindell was one of those accounts that was brought back. And then he got banned again. That was very strange. I kind of just want to start a pillow company just so I can refuse to talk about politics. I have some My Pillows. Anyway, I think that's everything for today, you all. Mike Lindell is nuts. His pillows suck. I like his pillows. I don't have one anymore. I had him actually before I even knew who he was. Um, he he's a little out there, Mike Lindell. Do you mean David Hogg? David Hogg. Oh, that was so funny. David Hogg. He was that kid that was hi Braxton. David Hogg was that kid from the Parkland shooting who went all political. Oh yeah, that's a good. I'll end with that. He went all political and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to start my own." He was all gun control and he said that he was going to start his own pillow company and right before it even got started, he was serious about it too. He was like, "Watch me start my own pillow company." And as soon as he started, he realized that starting a company is rather a lot to do. So he announced that um, his company was being disbanded. David Hogg is an example of why you should laugh at almost all Harvard alumni. Yeah. He didn't realize that to start a company, it takes actual work. Like I think he even named someone on his little board or whatever. Yeah, here it is. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously on Monday that the city of Boston violated the Constitution when it refused to let a local organization fly a Christian flag in front of City Hall. While the case had religious overtones, the decision was fundamentally about free speech rights. The court said the city created a public forum open to all comers when it allowed organizations to use flagpole in front of City Hall for I can't speak right now. Mike is too loud in supporting Trump. Yeah, I think he is. He's a bit much, that Mike Lindell. Just a bit much. That was it. And I understand he has his opinions and I respect his opinions, but it just got a little bit too bombastic for me. And when you're a little bit out there like that, you make it really easy for people to discredit you. A lot of these ardent Trump supporters are wasting their effort. They need to hammer the local and state legislators instead of rocking MAGA swag. I totally agree with that. Um, it gets to look a little bit too fanatic. And yeah, I think especially with this past election, I realized how important local politics are. Thank you, John Boy. How important local politics are, and it's important. I don't think you should. I think more than anyone, you speak on your principles. I like Trump. I think he's a really funny guy, but I think you have to be very careful without getting in that fan sort of. It comes off as looking fanatic, and it comes off as looking like you are just a blind follower and you're going to agree with everything that that person does. That's why I always say about Elon Musk too. I love what he's doing. I think it's awesome, but you don't want to get into that fanatic stage. And I think some people even did that with Kyle Rittenhouse, which was a little bit icky. I support Kyle Rittenhouse. I think that that was an appropriate ruling. I've always spoken in defense of him because the truth was on his side. Um, but I feel like a lot of conservatives got a little bit too like fangirly over him, or putting him like on a pedestal. And you know what he did, he was a kid that got into this situation and did the right thing, and I think it was impressive. His skills were impressive, but it was rubbing me the wrong way how he was being put on a pedestal a little bit much. Thoughts on Laura Loomer? Speaking of fanatics, yeah, it was cringy, and it makes you look again. It makes you look like that tribal person that's just blindly following someone. You should always lead with your principles, I think, and if the truth is on someone's side, defend them. I support Elon and Trump. Yeah, I support both of them too. But I'm not going to say this is the savior. This is my savior. This is my, that to me goes into idolatry, which I don't like. Rittenhouse said that he supports BLM message of Black Lives Mattering and that he supports prison reform. Yeah, I mean that's why I defend what he did. I think he did the right. What he did was in self defense. But I don't think anyone should be put on a pedestal. Right. And Eva, we accept Eva. She can be put on a pedestal. In fact, if you don't put Eva on a pedestal, she will attack you. Oh, but this Supreme Court ruling, we the government encourage diverse expression, say by creating a forum of debate. This is good news for Boston. Um, this, you know, a lot of these areas they'll fly BLM flags, they'll fly the LGBTQ flag, but all of a sudden you're flying what was it, a Christian flag? Yeah, you should be able to. If you're able to do all of those things, you should be able to fly a Christian flag as well. And it's interesting because I've even heard school parents bring this up when they're against when they're speaking out against all of this LGBTQ stuff being taught to their kids at such an extent where it's like several days a week we're doing lessons on this. One parent said it would be so inappropriate for a teacher to teach religion in this manner, yet this is being allowed. And I think that's a really good point. That is, not everyone agrees with certain ideologies or certain things. They can be divisive. And, you know, if you have one, well, I don't think it should be at all. And BLM big lavish mansions. Yeah. Agree about Rittenhouse. He should not have been there, but he did have the right to defend it. Yeah, that's what I always thought. And I know he was there for noble reasons. I think he was just a kid that wanted to help. If that were my kid, I would never have allowed him to do that. That's just me. I don't think he should have been there, but he acted in self defense for sure. And he was being chased and he was being attacked. Yeah, he had a right to be there, but I don't think he realized what he was getting himself into. And if that was my child, no. Of course he had a right to be there, but I think you can have an opinion that it wasn't a safe place for him to be. It wasn't. Last year, I saw a video of a Trumpster MAGA gathering in Florida. One woman was in that crowd with a BLM flag and they did nothing to her. But if it was the other way around, exactly. No, I understand that his father lives there and no one's saying that he didn't have a right to be there. Is that an appropriate place for a 17-year-old to be? I personally don't think so. And I meant, yeah, I don't think anyone's saying he didn't have a right to be there. And I think his reasons for going there were noble. How's Eva's taco truck? I can't find the taco truck. I got her. I'll show it to you next time it's not in this room. Oh, sorry, I was reading the chats. I got her. It's not in this room, but I'll show it to you later. They didn't have the taco truck. They had a little TV set with little antennas, and she can go into the TV set. But they didn't have anything really cool, and I was disappointed. I'm gonna have to go back, maybe because every season they get new ones, and so they might have a new one now. I want them to bring back the taco truck. That by far was the best one they've ever had. My 17-year-old kid never. Yeah, yeah, and no one's saying he didn't have the right to be there. Of course he had the right to be there. No, I didn't lose it. It got destroyed. Well, one time I stepped on it, and then just after a while, because she plays with it so much, yeah, I think a cardboard hearse would be more appropriate for you. All right, well, I'm gonna get off here, you all. That was fun. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 if you want to hang out. Thank you for joining. You might be right, Lance. You might be right. All right, later, everybody. How do I turn this thing off? All right, bye, you all.